Dan Illman, Ashley Mailloux, really nice card at Woodbine on Saturday. Race number 9's for the 3-year-olds, going 1.16 miles on the Tapeta. It's the Grade 3 Marine. Let's take a look at this talented group of sophomores. Cameo performance, 2-1 on the morning line. Coming up from the States, ran pretty well at Churchill Downs last time out. Wired in the Autobahn, beaten favorite, but tried real hard.
Did try really hard, and I thought the maiden score at Keeneland was impressive, and hey, has some kind of synthetic performances under the belt with that debut, a second place finish over in Ireland. But some other horses I feel like in this field, when you look at horses such as Piper's Factor and a couple of others, maybe getting into shape and turning the corner now as 3-year-olds, which I think is why you see a horse like Piper's Factor 5-2 on the morning line.
Cameo performance likes to rally from off the pace, so we'll see how this race could potentially set up for him with our Timeform US pace projector. He does have the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Maximus Magic is a speed. He is stretching out after showing sprint speed, and he figures to be up and on the lead. And I won't be surprised if Babbo, a horse who pulled really hard in the Coronation Futurity, going 1 1/8 miles, is right with them early. This pace might get hot.
Yeah, speed duel is maybe not what I would say, but I think the pace will certainly be warm between these two. And I think the big thing with both of them, they're coming out of a 7-ace race, and now they have to stretch out around 1.16 miles, and they've tried it before. And you look at Babbo, he does have a win going 1.8 miles, and not the same case here with Maximus Magic. Does have a win at 1 mile at Oaklawn, but a different story and a different surface where you start to think about how the dirt plays to speed compared to a synthetic surface, maybe a little bit of a different ball game.
Ashley mentioned Cameo performance has good synthetic form. That was in the debut overseas. Now, in the North American debut, Cameo performance came through for trainer Brian Lynch in this race at Keeneland. It's a maiden special weight, and I thought he was really sharp. He was bet like he couldn't lose, and he did not disappoint the public.
Very sharp, going 1.16 miles. And I think the other thing to look at is maybe next out performances. When you look at horses behind this one, Green Light came back to win with a 92 buyer at Churchill in a maiden special weight event. Even a horse further down the page by the name of Villain came back to win at Monmouth in the following outing. So always looking for those productive races. We talked about the form on debut. I think this horse makes a lot of sense and took a lot of respect last time out at Churchill, and maybe things didn't pan out perfectly, but had a little bit of trouble in that race as well.
A little bit of trouble in that race. And also, I just am not sure that pace really set up for him. He could at least get a better setup this time around. Piper's Factor is the number 2. This horse did some nice things as a 2-year-old up at Woodbine, placing in both the Gray and the Coronation Futurity. Maybe the life down in South Florida over the winter was a little tough for him, but it was good to see him get back into form in this race, a first-level allowance over course and distance. And Piper's Factor made a very strong move on the far turn into contention, and once he makes the lead, it is all over.
Yeah, you talked about his form at Gulfstream. I don't think he liked the dirt. They went too quick for him. He was chasing the pace, and then he had a ton of problems in his next start, and you can even see the run line. He didn't want to go on the gate. He was off slow, and typically it's tough to kind of turn it around from there. But I thought this sort of debut for the meetup at Woodbine was very impressive. I like that he took a step forward in his numbers. And I like the trip that he got, because you go to his races last year, especially in September and November, he wanted to be more forward, and he just seemed more comfortable rating and making one move rather than kind of trying to be keen early on and then go buy horses. It only worked out, obviously, in his maiden special weight score, but didn't work out as well in the Gray, where he went off favorite. So you wonder if he's taking the right steps forward, and Kurt certainly can take another step forward second off the freshening.
Maximus Magic is Timeform US's expected pace setter. This horse's only win came around 2 turns, and he's going to stretch back around that to that configuration. But that race came on dirt at Oaklawn. His best races thus far have come on dirt. I really couldn't see an excuse last time out in the King Corey. I thought the fractions he set were reasonable, and he was just no match for those horses.
No, he wasn't, and he was just simply far behind them. And you wonder if the horses that were second and third behind My Boy Prince maybe just a little bit better than Maximus Magic, but one of those he'll have to face again. And I don't know, I look at his dirt numbers. I think he prefers the dirt, and I think that just has to do with his natural speed. And you look at his races at Oaklawn Park at 1 mile and 1.16 miles, faced some really nice horses. We can't forget that he was second to Seize the Gray at one point in his career, and we know that what he was able to do in the Preakness. So no knocks on him. If you claimed him for $25,000 on debut, you certainly made your dividends back on him, and you've had a fun ride. But I just have some major concerns about him 1.16 miles on the synthetic.
I think Babbo's a very interesting contender. The number 4 won 3 consecutive races last year and did successfully carry his speed a mile and an eighth in the Coronation Futurity. They put him away for the winter. And in his one start this year, he probably A, needed the race off of the layoff, and B, he just got involved in a wicked speed duel. Take a look at those fractions, 44 and change for the half. No wonder he tired in the stretch. I think he's going to be a lot tighter for this assignment.
I think so too. And you talked about the wicked fractions. 44 to the half going 7/8. Good luck. Just best of luck to you first off the layoff. And I was actually there that day at Woodbine, and we know how good My Boy Prince is. That's the hype Taurus from last year in his 2-year-old campaign as a 3-year-old. And he really made things look easy once again. So, you go down the page and you look at Babbo's other performances. Coronation Futurity win, I think, speaks a lot to him that if he were to get out there for some reason, he can certainly take things on the front end, but we've talked about the logical maybe duel that could happen, or something he could hook up with the 3 to his inside. So that probably works against him. But another one with a good resume in here, and you wonder if he could at least hang around maybe for a piece against this group.
Essex Serpent stretches out for the first time after a couple of sprint efforts to begin his career. I thought he was a pretty professional winner of his career debut against Open Company, and then he finished ahead of Babbo when chasing My Boy Prince last time out. I think he's made a slow progression from start to start. You look at his pedigree, honor code over a Medaglia d'Oro mare, you'd think the distance would be okay. Maybe he's kind of a sleeper if this pace falls apart.
I think so. I mean, when you look at his performance last time out, as we finally take a look here at the Queenston, he's second best, but he is going to kind of make some moves here late. He's going to try to pass No More Options and a couple others in here, and he's able to finish second. My Boy Prince makes this look quite easy, but I thought it was a good performance here in the end, and first time facing winners. He was stretching out from 5.5 to 7. Now he's going to have to kind of take another step forward, I think, now going to a mile and a 16th, but a little bit of a sleeper maybe here for Mark Casse.
Midnight Mascot at the number 6 really has his share of credentials. I mean, he won the Woodstock 2 starts back. They tried him against My Boy Prince. All in all, not a bad effort considering what My Boy Prince then did in the Queenston that we just saw. My question with Midnight Mascot is distance. Is he ultimately going to prove to be more of a sprinty one-turn type?
He might. I mean, he might be a 6 furlong horse. They tried him at 7/8 last time, but with all that said, you go down the page, 6.5 has worked out for him. But I just thought that the Woodstock performance was very good. He didn't necessarily take a step back in terms of figures in his most recent outing, but just looking at kind of how he finished, he lacked a late kick. He couldn't even try to keep up. I mean, My Boy Prince was really trying to open up on him there. So to me, he's a little tough to endorse at a mile and a 16th when you look at his stablemate, say Essex Serpent to the inside, who at least took a step forward, stretching out, can probably do it again. I'm not sure about him.
And the X factor in the race is the one on the outside, the 7 Native Land. Let's take a look at Native Land's performance 2 starts back. This is at Keeneland, a first level allowance over very sloppy dirt. He's on the outside. He's a little bit green on his left lead right here, but he's going to just switch over and get past these horses. And he earned a pretty strong buyer speed figure of 83. He was in over his head in his subsequent start, the Peter Pan. It's kind of all about surface for this horse. I look at Mastery, and I don't really think turf or synthetic with him, but the Dam did win the only synthetic start.
I can't figure out his running style, if I'm being blatantly honest, because you look at the 2 races over a sloppy track, he was closer to the pace, and that's why he fared well, right? And kind of where you want to be on an off-going track. And I think that's what kind of helped him on April 10th. You look at his efforts kind of sandwiching those, and in between those, he's been too far back. And I don't know how far back in this race that you really want to be, knowing that there's going to be a pace battle. Sure, maybe that works for him. But I just have a feeling that first time over the surface, if he's too far back, he might have too much work to do late.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Marine. It's race 9 at Woodbine. We're both going to go with Cameo Performance. I was just taken with that maiden win 2 starts back, and he performed well on the synth in his debut.
Absolutely. You stole all of the thunder there, completely on board with that, and loved that he took respect in his next outing at Churchill, and we'll see if he can take a step forward off of that performance.
Same superfecta, different order. 1257 for Ashley, 1725 for me. Enjoy the Marine, race number 9 at Woodbine on a really good Saturday card.